Good morning. It's a beautiful day and I'm back in my van so I can talk to you again today. So today I want to talk about, I know I've said it a million times, but forgiveness, and I'm getting straight to it. I spent the last few videos telling you why I needed to forgive and telling you about the stuff that happened that caused the ache in my heart. Today I'm going to talk about the actual forgiveness process. And for each person, I know it's going to be different, but I'm here 100% because that's what we have to do. That's what Jesus told us. We have to forgive as if God forgave us. We've been forgiven so many times for every little thing. Every time we walked away from Him, He keeps taking us back. No matter what we've done or what we've said or how bad we think we've been, He keeps taking us back when we just ask. So, and I know the problem is that some of us want our person that we hate so bad or that we want to forgive. We want them to see the right way. We want them to see our way. We want them to be sorry. We don't want to offer forgiveness until they have done something on their part to make it better. So I want to start off by saying I'm driving, obviously. So I won't be looking at you. Sorry, but I still love you. I just love my babies and my grandbabies and the other people on the road too. So gotta pay attention. But anyway, so I don't have any notes. I'm unscripted, so it might go off the rails a little bit. I'm always unscripted, but sometimes I have, I tell myself I'm gonna have notes so I can keep myself on track. But because I do squirrel a lot. But anyway, so for years after Amanda died, I held on to the hatred. I held on to that hatred that I had for that man, and for some reason, don't ask me why, I didn't hate the guy who hit me, and I don't know why. At first I did, but I guess I realized that he had to live with that his own self, and I don't know how I could live with that. Like, I would really struggle if that had been me who caused the accident. So I guess I had enough empathy for him that I knew that he had to have been hurting so much himself. And of course we all have things we want to take back, like so much. If we could just rewind, we would. And I knew that in my heart that he did not intend to harm me or Amanda. He harmed Amanda, but anyway, but the other guy, like I said, he was the one who intentionally did those actions. And so he was the one that I had all my hatred towards. And so because of that, I hated all men in blue or men in green, or I didn't like any cops. And I somehow didn't get myself in trouble, even though I should have. I don't know if our county had like an asterisk beside my name when I got pulled over to say leave her be, because like I would race cops down the road if they were trying to, merge into my lane. I would get behind them and I would just rev my engine. Like, I'd put my foot on the gas and the brake and I'd rev my engine. If I ever got pulled over, I would dare them and I would say, the man that took my baby's life had a $50 fine. I'll go to jail before I ever pay more than $50 to this county for going 5 miles over the speed limit, or, whatever I had done. And I wasn't a bad driver by any means, but I also wasn't about to get a ticket where I had to pay more than $50. Like, never. And I didn't. I showed up to court. I think I got like 3 tickets in my, life, I guess. And each time they were either dismissed or, I never did. So again, I don't know. Then I got to where I was like, you know what? You have to be responsible. Like, you can't use this as your reason to never get a ticket again. Like, you have to obey the law too, which like I said, I've always been a very cautious driver. I was in a car accident when I was 12, which made me really a cautious driver, so anyway, I had worked through the years of trying to get to this forgiveness point. Like, I knew I had it in there. There was also a part of me, and maybe you can relate to this, there was also a big part of me that as memories fade of your loved ones, I mean, it's just what happens. Like, memories fade. You can't always recall the sound of their voice. You can't always recall. I can always recall her face. But you can't always recall the sound of their voice. You can't always recall the actual words that they said. And so my heart was just so empty without having Amanda in it, that I think that my heart held on to the anger. I think looking back, and I know this sounds demented, and you think, why would you do that? Doesn't make sense. But I think I almost somewhere in there felt like if I let go of the anger, and if I forgave him and let go of the anger, there would be nothing left, and I would be hollow. Like, if I didn't have her love, if I didn't have the love I had for her in my heart, and if I was forgetting the sound of her voice and couldn't just bring it into my head, then if I let go of that, who would I be? Like, there would be nothing left of me. There would be nothing in my heart. I would be just an empty, dead shell. So I know it sounds really demented. I know that in my heart of hearts, but I guess somewhere in my younger mind, I just couldn't allow it to go. So I went to different churches, I took different classes, I read different books, all about forgiveness, and then I just forgot about it and lived my life. I didn't even, try for the longest time. But then I would, find some kind of spiritual thing I was trying to go through, and I would try again. And each time that I would try, there's my sweet lady that stands on the side of the road and waves at everybody. She is the best. This lady, y'all, she gets out there every single morning and waves at people and smiles, and it's just glorious. I just love her. Anyway, she's doing God's work too, because she's making the world a better place, one pebble at a time in the pond. But so I remember sitting there at church one day, and you recited the thing. You said, I'm at a stoplight. You said, Lord, I allow you in my heart. I'm doing the forgiveness. Whatever. The preacher had you reciting the things, and you recite, and you. At the end, you're supposed to say the person's name. You hold that person's name in your heart, and you see them, and all the things that you do. And so I was doing those things, and I knew this was the day I was gonna release him. Because they've told you, I've heard all things. They've got a hold on you. You're allowing them to control your life. Like, if you tried to deal with forgiveness, you've heard it all. You know it. You've heard it. Well. And, they would say, write the letter and burn it and, all this stuff. So I'd done all the things. And when it came time to say that name, I was ready. I had it. I was ready. But when it came time for my lips to form those words of that man's name, I couldn't do it. I could not force myself to say his name. Did the same thing with my father. I had tried that too. Like, I would try to say the name, and it's like my body rejected what my brain was telling it to do, and I just could not force myself to say the name. And so I would give up, and I would just live with it. And again, I did not know just how deep of a shadow I was living under until I did finally release it. And so I went to a Unity Christ Church, and if you know anything about that church, they believe all paths lead to God. They don't believe there's just one path to God, which I still get on board with. Like, I still get on board with a lot of things that they said, but they are very much not a traditional church. They do, have the Bible, they teach from the Bible, but they also, teach the Bible was written ultimately by man, and it has been edited how many times. And so, they do believe some stuff. Some people call it a woo-woo. Sometimes I say it's a woo-woo church because, they believe in the crystals and the auras, and, they accept no matter what you believe. They accept if you believe in crystals. They accept that you believe in reincarnation. They accept these things. And having read the Bible, I'm on my third time around it right now. Having read it 3 times, what I can ultimately say is I can accept that I don't know. Because if reincarnation is the truth and I've died and come back, I don't remember. I don't remember what it's like in heaven. I don't remember being an angel, if we're angels or if we're souls, or I don't know what's past this life. So how can I say what's not when I don't know what is? So what I know is that I have to love God. I have to love Jesus. I have to realize that everything in my life good is from him. Even everything in my life bad is from him. And that's where I'm going with this. And I know I'm off track again, and I'm sorry. I came to the realization that I've been looking for a reason for Amanda's death. What good has come of it? Like, I wanted to see some good come of it in my lifetime, to know that it happened for a reason. Because, for a person to be atheist and tell me there was no reason, I can't accept that. I had to have gone through that for a reason, and that's just how I had to live, or I would have been shattered. I had to know that there was some kind of bigger picture of why she lived and why she died. And maybe this is right here. Maybe her reason for dying is so that I could say these words to you right now and it reaches the right person. And so I hope that this does reach the right person. And so back to the forgiveness. I can't tell you exactly how. I can't tell you a step by step to take. I can tell you what you have to do is just continually pray, pray, pray. Pray on it. Be quiet. Pray and then be quiet. So I know I have a problem. I can pray all day long and I can read all day long, but then I have a problem being quiet. I have a problem stilling my mind to be quiet, to listen. And you just have to set yourself time. You just have to. And so that's kind of one of the things that I try to do. I'm telling you, I try to set a timer for 10 minutes after I've done my reading, after I've done my, everything I want to do. And then I try to set a timer for 10 minutes and be quiet and allow God to speak to me. So anyway, this day I had decided, so I went to, my mama passed away then, and it was me and mom against the world. My dad left when I was young. It was me and my mom my whole life. I was her caregiver for the last 5 years of her life, and she died. It was a sudden stroke. Thank God I was in the Bible at that time, because I leaned on that heavily. I really struggled because she was in the hospital hooked up to tubes for 5 days, and I had to make the decision to pull that plug. And being an only child, and she was it for me. That was a really, really hard go, a hard thing to have to do. I'm sure people listening have been through it. But I did. I sat there by her bedside for 5 days, reading my Bible and praying over her and talking to her, and taking solace that she knew I was there for her last 5 days, even though she may not have told me she was there. And she did. I'll tell you one day about that. She did tell me she was there the very last day, right before she died. She told me that she knew, and it was okay. And I was, blessed to have that knowledge. But so anyway, after mom passed, struggled a little bit. Led me to a thing called Grief Share. If you've never done a Grief Share, try it. It's through churches. It is a God-based grief counseling kind of thing. And again, it's been 30 years since Amanda died, and I think I'm going there for my mother. I think I'm going there to heal from her. And I'm just, even though I was doing okay and mom was older, she had a lot of health problems. I had been caregiving for her for 5 years, so it's not like it was unexpected. It was unexpected that moment, certainly, but it's not like I didn't know that was coming. So it wasn't this shocking revelation, but still, went to this Grief Share and thought, why not? It's one Tuesday night a week for 9 weeks. Let's do it. And so what I ended up finding out during Grief Share was that I was not there to heal from my mother. I was there to heal from Amanda. I thought it was all about my mom, and I had, done the work I needed to do with Amanda, but I certainly had not. And so this Grief Share hit me in a place, and it was wonderful, and it was sad, and it was, there were other people in the room with me that, my heart broke for them or for what they went through. And, there were people that were there that weren't ready for it yet and couldn't take it yet. There were people like me who were way past time, and there were people right in the middle of it. And so anyway, did the Grief Share, did the work. One of the last things that we had to do was write the letter. Of course, we have to write the letter. But this time, instead of burning the letter, I was going to send the letter. And now I'm almost to work, and I've gone over time, so I got to talk fast. I wrote the letter. I had a friend of mine. She was going through some stuff too, different than mine, but we were both going through some stuff. So we decided we're writing the letter together. We got together. We sat there. I wrote a 10-page letter. I sobbed. I cried. I told Mr. Fisherman everything that I hated about him, all the years. I told him everything. It might not have been 10 pages. I thought it was, but it was a big letter. There were tear stains on it. Snot probably, I don't know, but I wrote the letter, and I let out every vile and mean thing that was in me that I have told myself I shouldn't feel, because you feel like you're a good person, and if you love God and you want to try to be a good person, you don't want those things, right? So you're in denial of those things, but I let it out, and I tell you, I wouldn't have wanted to receive that letter. I did make a copy, but I haven't reread it yet. Anyway, so I wrote the thing, and I had determined that I was going to take it to the police station. Of course, you don't know if they get to the police station, if they're actually going to get it or not. But I was going to take it to the police station. And as I was holding on to it, this was right before Christmas, and as I was holding on to this letter, lo and behold, my boyfriend from the 9th grade, who, I am still friends with on Facebook, and my boyfriend from the 9th grade reached out to me one morning when I was sitting there reading my Bible and said, "I just thought that you would like to know that Mr. Fisherman has retired." And he knew the situation, he knew what had done, and come to find out, he's family friends. His family is family friends with this person, and I knew it at some point, but I had put it away. I'd filed it. I didn't remember it, but anyway, so he wanted to let me know. He thought that I would be happy to know that Mr. Fisherman had retired, and that I could let that go. And I was like, darn it, of all the times, like, now he's going to retire after all of these years. I haven't ever been able to speak to him. I've never been able to have a meeting with him. I've never been able to punch him in the face. I've never been able to hang him by his toenails. I've never been able to do the horrible things that I wanted to do to him, or face off with him, or square off with him. And now he's going to retire, and I can't even give him this letter. So I kind of told Chris those things in a little way. And he said, I'll give him the letter. I will hand deliver him the letter. In case you forgot, my family is friends with his family. And I was like, okay. So now I knew Mr. Fisherman was getting this letter. So I sat on it a couple more days. It was about Christmas time, so I was busy with life too. About 3 days later, Chris reaches out to me again and says, do you have the letter? Like, he wasn't going to let me off that hook. So Chris and I discovered a time to meet. I took him the letter. I had a good cry when I handed it over. And he said, do you want me to let you know? And I said, yes. Oh, back to the letter. So write the letter. Oh, gosh, this is the most important part. How could I forget this part? So I wrote the letter. Vicky wrote her letter. We both sat there. We talked about it. We laid hands on it. We prayed on the letters. We both sat there. We prayed. And when I signed off the letter, the last 3 things that I put is, I forgive you, I forgive myself. And what I didn't expect to come out of my pen and my hand, because I was just freely writing my feelings, was, I forgive God. Now, I've been in denial that I was mad at God this whole time. I would not, and I think that's why I had to tell myself that it was meant to be, because I was trying to predetermine a fate thing, and God meant it to happen. But I would not admit that I was angry to God, because heaven forbid someone come and hit me right now and I die. I didn't want to admit that God wasn't good. And by saying that he had done that and I was angry to him was like admitting to myself that he wasn't good. And so I wouldn't even allow myself to see that. I had buried that part. And so when I said, I forgive God, that was the moment. That was the moment that I felt this rush of, like, I'm not going to say water. I can't even describe it. I wish I could describe it. But it was this rush of release. through my body. It was like my whole body just slumped down, and I was just like, I had no bones. I had no cares. I had no weight. I was just free. I wish I had words to describe the feeling when I wrote those words and said, I forgive God. Again, I would never admit to myself that I was angry with God. So forgiving him, that wasn't something I needed to do because I wouldn't admit to anger. And here I am writing that. So, whoo, that was the big day. And I sat there and I bawled and I bawled and I was a puddle and I bawled. But boy, when I got up from that cry and when I blew my nose and when I cleaned my face, oh, it was so glorious to walk in that freedom. And that is what I want every single one of you that are holding on to any unforgiveness. That is what I want you to feel. Whatever it is you have to do. And I did it through prayer. I did it through going to Grief Share and opening myself up to feeling the feelings. And that's a hard one. Opening yourself up to feeling that stuff. That is a very, very hard one because we have to protect our hearts. We have to. Or we can't, our physical hearts just can't handle it. So we have to somehow protect ourselves. And so I'm telling you by parking. By giving yourself in, by allowing yourself to feel pain, by allowing yourself the freedom to forgive not only yourself, the person who did the thing, and God. And I know that that's a hard one to admit. It was very hard for me to admit I was holding animosity. It just was. But once I did it, and it's just such an amazing feeling. And I said it from the beginning and I'll say it again and again and again. That's why I'm here. I don't want anyone else to walk around holding on to that hurt and that pain and that heartache that I held on to for 30 years. Hang on one second.
Need any help carrying?
No, I'm good. Thank you. So, yeah.
All right, sounds good. Let me know if you need anything later.
Now my smart girl wants to help too. So I'm at work, so one of my friends wanted to know if I had to carry anything, so that was nice of her. So I'm going to finish this out, and I will get back to tell you the revolution of what happened when Mr. Fisherman read my letter, because there is more, and it was traumatizing, and also I don't have words for it because it's awful. It was healing. It was awful, but it was full circle. And it was the end of the anger that I had for him. And it was the end when I prayed on it. It was the end when I let it go. But it was the conclusion. It was the last chapter and the last book of the story. Like, sometimes the climax of the story, of the forgiveness story. Amanda was my climax. She was the everything. She was the perfect. But in this forgiving and healing story, the moment that Penn, and I didn't even know it until I told you. I really didn't. I was telling myself, like, how am I going to talk about forgiveness when I don't know how I did it myself? These are the things I did. I can't tell you how you can do it. I'm going to tell you how I did it. And how I did it was through true prayer. I am not a person who goes to one particular church. I am not a person who believes there's one particular right religion and the rest are not. I go to what church makes me happy. I love the music of a church. I don't even go to church every Sunday. I read my Bible every day. I talk to God every day, but I do not go to church every day, and maybe I should, or every week, and I probably should. So I'm not telling you to do this in a particular church, in a particular congregation. I've had many amazing experiences in church. I really have, and I'll tell you about some of those in the future. But when I say this, it's not to tell you to go to XYZ church and do the XYZ thing. Grief Share is within all churches. You can find a Grief Share. Go onto the Grief Share website, click where to go. They'll take you through a process. There's a book, there's videos, there's the whole bit. You'll go through a process. And if you allow yourself, sit and pray on it, pray to allow yourself to open yourself to that healing, to make yourself vulnerable to the healing, because that's it. We've protected ourselves by making ourselves not vulnerable. And I know that because I've lived it. And again, I don't want you to live with one more day of the confines of unforgiveness in your heart. And so reach out, find the Grief Share. If it means that you have to admit that you're angry at God, then admit it and forgive him too. Like I said, I didn't even know when I hit play on this video 20 minutes ago, I did not know that the main character of this story was about forgiving God. I did not know that until I said it to you. I knew it was in there, but I knew I did it, but I didn't know that that was my key. And I think that's the key. I think right now that is the key. Not just your person that you're angry with, but God for that whole thing happening. If you're a believer and you believe that things happen for reasons and that God has a bigger picture and that God has a design and that God protects you. Because that's another thing. If you believe that God protects you, how could this have happened? And I know that's a hard one. I have a very good friend who does not any longer believe in God. And she said 2 words. Her reason for not believing God is childhood cancer. I get it. I get what she's saying. But as a believer, I couldn't admit I was angry with him because I had to believe he had a plan for it. And so by admitting I was angry with him, it allowed me to let it all go. Let it go towards Fisherman, let it go towards God, and let it go towards myself, forgiving myself for being angry at God. Right? So, see what you learn about yourself through this too. And I will say, you do learn something about yourself, because the very first video I put out, I didn't expect anybody to watch it at all yet, because I haven't published it. I haven't done anything with them. I'm recording them and I'm uploading them as I go, and then I'll figure out what to do from here. But my very first video, I said something crazy, and I didn't even know I said it. And someone that watched it commented. And if you're watching this again, I tried to comment to you. I tried to respond, and I kept hitting send, and it wouldn't let me send. But I said I was thrilled about Amanda and having Amanda because I wanted someone to love me. And I didn't even know I said it. She said she re-listened to it 2 or 3 times to hear and was like, whoa. And I was like, whoa, myself. So see, I'm learning too, because I myself had to go, whoa, what? Love me? Huh? What are you talking about? I love her. What are you talking about? I love me. No, I'm in denial. No, I didn't say that, because I love Amanda. It's not about her loving me. It's about me loving her. What? Like I got in my own way, and I had to re-listen to it myself. And I was like, I sure did. That's what I said. So evidently there's something in my heart that I still have not uncovered. And I've looked at it, and I've had another thing. It was on vacation last week. I almost videotaped it, but I was with my husband. I was with the whole family. So it's kind of hard to like walk around videotaping, because you've all seen that girl on the beach that's what do you call us? They call them, not us. I'm not. Maybe one day. Maybe I'll be by the time this video gets anywhere. But they call them something. The people who do the YouTube videos. Anyway, I see her. I see the people out on the beach, like holding their phone and dancing and doing all the crazy stuff. And you're like, oh, that woman's crazy. So I didn't want to be the crazy woman, like talking to myself all day, like I am right now in the shop. 6 minutes ago, I was supposed to be inside at work. So I'm going to go. But it's going to rain today, so I'm in my van. When I'm driving my Mustang, I can't talk to you, because my Mustang has a convertible top, and I have the top down, and you can't hear a word I say. So it's only when I drive my van that I get to do a video. But I do want to come back, because I want to tell you the last page of the story between Fisherman and I. Actually, I say that. Who knows? Maybe one day he'll call me and say, I want to see you. Like, who knows what the future may hold. But for now, this is a 30-minute video. I told myself 20, and now I'm up to 30. So I'm going to leave you. I love you. God loves you. Love yourself. Love God. Have a beautiful day. Bye.